to look at what happens in the fourth or in the eighth parliament, and also who are those coming the next administration, starting early 12 o'clock today a.m., which is the midnight. So tomorrow by this time we have new administration regarding for the presidential, which is the executive arms of the government, the legislative or the legislature, which is the parliament, for the judiciary, unless maybe the government or the president elects another judicial justice or maybe judges in, subsequent or as time goes on. But for now, we are only going to witness or have the legislature and the executive. We are starting tonight or this midnight and tomorrow morning, where we are also going to usher or the swear in our newly elected president, John Dramani Mahama, tomorrow by 9 a.m. at the Black Star Square, or the formerly called Independence Square. I am not here alone. I have my colleagues here, and aside the production team in-house. Let me go. This is Studio A. Let me go to Studio B, and you can see my colleague Elizabeth is sitting right straight adjacent to me, and we have also another gentleman wearing the same style like me. We are. Hey, all of us, the three of us. Good evening.
Good evening, Maxwell.
And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
I love seeing you in a newly administration we are entering. So I learned there's a breaking news just now coming from the office of the John Dramani Mahama. Let's quickly take that and we come to you. But before that, I'll just mention your name to ask who you are actually. As I said earlier, my name is Mr. Maxwell here, and you, my colleague, your name.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, and I'll be taking you through the discussions of our 8th Parliament. Here with me is Mr. Ni Asai Ankra. He's the head of operations for Ghana Boxing Authority. But today we are taking him off the boxing ring as we discuss some political issues. And just like my colleague said, there has been some breaking news as the president-elect has made some inaugurations or appointments for Parliament. Here we say that Julius Debra is now the Chief of Staff. Dr. Callistus Mahama is Executive Secretary of the President. Dr. Valerie Soya, he is the Senior Presidential Advisor and the Government Affairs. Mr. Augustus Gusi Tando, he is the Presidential Advisor responsible for 24-hour economy and acceleration export development. Marriott Ejewa Brew, she is the legal counsel to the President of Ghana. We have Honorable Felix Kwache Ofosu as the spokesperson for the Parliament. And before we continue, we are going to have a short discussion with our guest here. He's going to take us through some of his ideas on our current 8th Parliament. Mr. Derek, you're welcome to today's program.
Thank you, Madam Tamaklo.
Yes, please. Yeah. And so, what do you make of the current 8th Parliament of Ghana?
Well, let me say good evening to our cherished viewers, and thank you for having me. And I believe that we all know that we had a hung parliament in the 8th Parliament, and then it started with, I don't know, a brawl. I don't know whether to call it a brawl, a war. I don't really know the kind of adjective to give to. If you remember 4 years ago, there was a war when at this particular time when there was a change from the 7th Parliament to the 8th Parliament because of the numbers where we have one, I think 85 at one side, and then the other MPP side, and then NDC side with one person as independent who had to make a decision. The election of Mr. Babwin became something strange, because in normal circumstances, most often we see the president in power having his person as the speaker, but then the elections were held and we don't know up to now. We're still looking for that one person from the MPP side who decided to vote for Mr. Honorable Babwin to get the speaker nod. And then it's been guilty. And you know, those are the numbers. I believe that we all knew that getting close to the elections in December, we had to again battle who are the minority and majority is, with some parliamentarian crossing carpet, some going independent and stuff. So it became another problem where we have to go through the court. And so this particular 8th parliament has been with a lot of strange, but like the speaker said this afternoon, it afforded us the chance to learn new ways. It was also an opportunity for us to sort of judge before decisions are made, in a normal scheme of things, because we are human beings and we parliamentarians or politicians come from different parties. At a point, they were unable to come to a consensus. So what will happen is that then there will be a pull and a push, which we saw a lot in the we can also talk about the this LGBT and stuff, which is still hanging, and a whole lot. It's been an eventful parliament because of how it was, and the 9th will be another. It will be a different, because we have a micro minority and then a major majority that also come with its own. But it's been very eventful. There were a lot to learn. There were a lot of judges and then a lot of disagreement, which was expected.
Okay, so just as you mentioned, we've had a hung parliamentary this year, 8 parliaments. So going forward, what do you think are some of the significant achievements by the 8th parliament?
Well, I think that one of what I would call achievement is the way we're able to manage. Elsewhere, I believe there will be war all the time, especially when government is bringing this, and the other, that is the minority then, or the minority now, the NDC side will think that because we have the numbers, we will not allow them to have their way and stuff. But there is this agreement. After all the disagreement, they still get, and we get to go. And one of the things that we saw, I think the first time where we have parliamentarians coming with this LGBT bill that almost, from what we know, almost all the MPs agreed to that, and which worked for us. And I believe that a speaker too, I mean, with this and parliament, it needed to manage both parties well. At the point, the speaker is coming from the NDC side. At the point, I remember Mutaka was serious in disagreement with him, thinking that he's not doing their bidding and stuff. So he has to make sure that he put his foot down, as much as he's coming from the NDC side, just to make sure that Ghana first, which he did. So I'm happy. At a point, it was the MPP that is complaining. At another point, it was the NDC. It means that the speaker did his work well. Yeah. So that's also another thing that came up. And then the other bit around the parliament for the last 4 years.
Very well. So we go on to Maxwell in Studio A. Maxwell, what do you have for us?
All right. So I think boss has said everything regarding from the 8th parliament. Today we need to also look at some of the things which really took place. Talking of achievements, and even we need to look at the overview of Ghana Parliament as a whole. Most of the times, I remember when in GHS or in primary school, when we talk about development or others, the Parliament or the legislature as being part of the executive. So MP number construct road, this and that. But what exact thing do they do when they go into the setting, and the nature, the structure, or the composition of our Parliament? We need to also look at and understand how we operate and why our deficits, why we are where we are now, where we are complaining it is MKOE and all those stuff. These people make law for us. These people maybe vet and also approve budgets. They approve any other government policies and those other things. So these are major things that we need to look at. And fantastic. This year, the 9th Parliament, I have statistics for that. If you take 2025, it is for how many numbers? We have 20 and 25. So if you add the 20 and the 25, you obviously get 45. And this 45, we are dealing with the individual, the grouping numbers. So the 40, which is the 4 and the 5, making the 45. If we add these numbers also together, you get the 9th parliament. So it's an odd number, it's a unique number. John Dramani Mahama on the ballot paper was on the number 8. And Muhammadu Bawumia for the NPP was also on number 1. Adding these two numbers will obviously get you the same, the 9, which is the odd number. So I don't know whether there's a spiritual thing backing the 9th parliament, but without that, let's look at what it entails and also what they have done, especially the 8th parliament, and also we can also look at some of the 9th parliaments as well. So I'll go to my touch screen here and see the overview of the parliaments that we are talking about when we talk about Ghana parliament. And but basically, I'll get it here. Yes, so Ghana has a unicameral legislature composed of 275 members of parliament from single-member constituencies, with an executive president who appoints ministers, majority of whom by the constitution have to come from the parliament. So we obviously know that we have 275 MPs in the coming from the various constituencies. Now, why are we saying that we are unicameral? You know, for the parliament or the system itself, we have bicameral and unicameral and maybe any other system as well. But for we, Ghana, and per our jurisdiction or maybe our numbers, we practice what is called the unicameral. And for the unicameral, is only one chamber where we elect our members of parliament or representatives of the constituencies. They will go and make laws and also do any other businesses for the country. But if you go to the bicameral, which is for the federal government or any other institution, maybe like US and UK, they most at times have two chambers. We have the laws of the House of Commons, the House of Lords. So the House of Lords are in Ghana, let me say the Senate or the MPs. But the House of the Commons composes for the, let me say, ordinary people, our chief traditional leaders, and any other civil societies. But for we, Ghana per se, we only have our traditional leaders at the executives where they form part of the Council of State. But for our legislature, we only have the members of parliament who goes there and make law for us. We don't have any other something. So that's why we have the unicameral legislature. So the way we are, or how our development has been, the way our economic is developing, or how we are retiring, could be attributed to what we call the unicameral legislature, because we have check and balances within the systems. So the legislature checks on the executives also check on each another, the three of them, the three arms of government. But if you get a two-chamber where we have the upper chamber and the lower chamber, they can also equally do what we call the checks and balances inside there, so that development can sink down to the people and they can bring on board what the people need and others. So our parliament system is where we have the unicameral system. Parliament operates very much on the lines of Parliament of Westminster. So it basically links or synchronized with the unicameral. So Westminster is where is the house of in the UK where the members of Parliament go and have meeting. So we have a group, we have a house, a place where our elected members of Parliament from various constituencies meet on sometimes or occasionally to debate or have maybe discussion on policies or what we are supposed to do and also make law for the country. So it follows to some extent the Westminster model, making provision for ministers to be questioned in Parliament and also for members of Parliament to make statements on matters of public importance, for them to introduce motions on the matters which they consider important, and for them to approve the policies of government in general. The government, for example, cannot enter into any international agreement without the ratification of Parliament, and also various such controls exist. So as I said earlier, we have our Parliament here associated their ideology or something from the Westminster and also unicameral. Governments can never do any international businesses without them. So people think that, oh, then aside they not doing votes and others, they only make laws. Go and make laws for like LGBTQ bill there, and also the affirmative action law and any other laws being done. They most at times does that, but not all that. They also approve budgets. Government want to maybe go for an international law from maybe World Bank or IMF or any other organization. Parliament needs to look into it and see that, do we need the money now? So these are some of the things that Parliament do in terms of the their performance. So the general overview of our Ghana Parliament is that we practice unicameral under the web minister to associate themselves in doing businesses regarding law and also government policies approval and any other. Let's look at other stuff also.
Okay, so Maxwell, before you go on, so I understand that the 9th Parliament has a 276 member because of the style constituency.
Yes.
Yes. And then from what you have already given, it shows us that
we have the 276.
Yeah.
So as we are ushering into the new administration or the new parliament, we are adding the one to it to the 276. So we are just giving the overview of where we started our parliamentary system. Yeah.
This shows that the parliamentary of Ghana has a lot of role to play, especially in shaping policies for us as a country.
Yeah. So life of parliament, we have human life and other stuff. So at what point do we dissolve parliament, and at what point do we also inaugurate new parliament? So this is a term of parliament of Ghana spans over a period of 4 years from the first sitting day following a general election as stipulated by Article 113 or Article 113 cross 1 of the 1992 Constitution. So as we are witnessing today and tomorrow, so tomorrow will be the first sitting of the new administration. So that is the lifespan of the Article 112 of the same Constitution provides that a session of that period between the last and the first sitting of the first session of Parliament shall not amount to 12 months. Within a session of Parliament, there are periods of meeting and sitting. So that's what we basically witness day in and day out, where Mr. Speaker or Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, they go. We experience a lot of dramatic and other things in our Parliament. Today we have witnessed some from the should I say minority leader? Yes, he's still the majority leader because we haven't ticked the clock on 12 a.m. So he's still the majority after your marking, who was just making a lot of dramatic statements in Parliament today when he was giving his speech. So we witnessed a lot. So every
sorry, before you continue, can we look at some closing remarks by the leaders in Parliament today?
All right. Okay.
For the opportunity to address this honorable house for the very last time in the life of this 8th Parliament. It is indeed a privilege to be able to share this final moment with you as we bring this historic Parliament to a close. It goes without saying, Mr. Speaker, that the journey we have shared over the course of this 8th Parliament has been long, eventful, and filled with moments both challenging and rewarding. It should be recalled, Mr. Speaker, that both sides of the aisle, Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, it should be recalled that both sides of the aisle changed leadership in the course of the life of this Parliament. On behalf of colleagues, we pay tribute to the leadership which started this journey. Mr. Speaker, we pay tribute to Honorable Osei Chairman Sabonsu, the former majority leader. We also pay tribute to Honorable Haruna Idrusu, the former minority leader. Honorable James Kluche Abeji, the former deputy minority leader. Honorable Muntaka Mobrak, former minority chief whip. Right Honorable Speaker, every chapter of this journey has been marked by its own twist, turns, highs and lows. But in the end, the NDC Minority Caucus delivered and lived up to the expectation of the people. As we reflect on the years, we are reminded of the truth that all things, both good and difficult, have a beginning and an end. Mr. Speaker, as we draw the curtain of this distinguished Parliament, we cannot help but to give thanks to the Almighty God for His guidance and grace throughout this tenure, throughout our tenure. His hands has carried us through every storm and the challenges. We also extend our sincere appreciation to you, Right Honorable Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, for your exemplary leadership and unwavering direction. You came after a long tradition of competent speakers. However, none of your forebears were burdened with a hung parliament such as yours. You were the first speaker elected from a party that is not in government, but you were well prepared for it. From your days, Mr. Speaker, as a minority leader, a majority leader, and a deputy speaker. Your wisdom, patience, and calmness, even under pressure, have been an anchor for this House, especially during turbulent times. Your ability to manage this Parliament with fairness, even in most challenging circumstances, has made you an outstanding statesman. To the members of the NDC Minority Caucus that briefly became the Majority Caucus, I express my profound gratitude for the support and cooperation that I, along with my colleagues in leadership, received from you over the past 2 years. Together, we have achieved numerous milestones, and I'm confident that history will be kind to us for our collective efforts. At the stroke of midnight today, the NDC caucus will re-enter this chamber with a strength of an unprecedented two-thirds majority. Mr. Speaker, this, I believe, serves as a timely reminder to the political class that the people of Ghana reward hard work, dedication, and true love for country. Right Honorable Speaker, this 8th Parliament has indeed been historic in many respects. For the first time under the 4th Republic, we witnessed a Parliament that was evenly split, with each of the political parties securing 137 members each. We also saw 40 female members of Parliament equally distributed across the political parties. One independent member of Parliament who serves as the second Deputy Speaker, and a Speaker who hails from the opposition. This, in every sense, Mr. Speaker, gave us the first hung Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Honorable colleagues, let us be proud to be part of this historic Parliament. From the very start, the stage was set for a roller coaster journey, particularly during the election of the Speaker. That fateful night kept the nation on edge, with many fearing for the safety of our democracy.
It's a moment of emotion for me, having had the opportunity to lead the House a little over 9 months, and the fact that, Mr. Speaker, by tomorrow, I will be seated to the left of Mr. Speaker, leading the charge for and on behalf of the minority. Mr. Speaker, you rightly paraphrase your description of this 8th Parliament on various platforms and fora, and stated that it's been remarkable, characterized by unique milestones and challenges that have tested our democratic principles and governance. Mr. Speaker, one defining feature of this Parliament was its near equal composition, with 137 members from each side and one independent member. Notably, this Parliament elected the Speaker of the House from a party of the opposition, something which was and still continues to be novel development to our democracy. We also had an equal number of female representation from both sides of the aisle. 20 female members apiece, bringing female representation to 40, that account for 14.5%, the highest female representation in Parliament ever recorded in our 4th Republic. This Parliament, at both sides of the House, has had the course to change their leadership in order to give opportunity to some members to serve in the front bench. It is therefore right to conclude that the 8th Parliament truly pushed our parliamentary democracy to its limits and tested how far we can go with our practice of parliamentary democracy. Mr. Speaker, I rose from deputy leader to majority leader. in my days as a deputy leader in this house. I received a lot of good counsel, not only from our side, but from my friends opposite. I remember the quiet moments where they would call me to their office and engage me in spite of our disagreements in this house. Mr. Speaker, permit me to mention a few of them and thank them for the purpose of Hansard. Honorable Harun Idrisu, he urged upon me to always read the standing orders and encouraged me to aspire for the leadership of the House. I am happy to say that in my days as his deputy, although he is not a lawyer, he was well versed with the standing orders and the Constitution. Before I could say a word, he knows where a particular provision is. And we worked together, gave me the opportunities to shine, and eventually made way for me to succeed. Honorable Osei Che Mensah Bonsu, I thank you most sincerely. You defined my leadership. You played a key role. We may have our differences, but I want to say that you have made it possible for me to stand on my feet today, especially as I enter opposition and to lead our side in minority. It is that which I learned from you that I will depend on to make a headway in my leadership. Mr. Speaker, there were great elderly senior members on my side, such as Honorable Kennedy Japon, Honorable K.T. Amon, who were also with me in moments of difficulty. I should thank also, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues in leadership, Honorable Anodombre, the Chief Whip, a workaholic being. Mr. Speaker, there were a number of times he had to sleep in Parliament to organize and make things work for me to take over as a leader. He and his deputies worked tirelessly in assisting me to manage a very difficult house. Honorable Dombre, Honorable Habib Idrisu, Honorable Alexander Tete, I say God bless you. I'm thankful to you for all you did. And my able deputy, she was more than a mother to me, to calm me in difficult moments. Her wise counsel has made it possible for me to lead the house till this day. We are both Catholics. She never ceased to remind me of the power of our rosary as Catholics. The morning prayers, the morning encouragements, calling me Kwamena, let's pray. Madam Patricia Apieje, God bless you for all you did. And to my colleagues opposite, you made the best come out of me. I was always watching the videos of Honorable Eric Opoku. This is a man who can punch extremely hard with facts. You dare not challenge him, and I dare not challenge him, because he will take you to another level. Honorable Kwame Abuja, we were there together in opposition. Those days, we struck a good accord. We had our own esprit de corps. And when you assume leadership, I thought I could explore that for a good way forward. You often disappointed me, but you got the best out of me. Kwame, thank you. And Ahmed Ibrahim, the deputy whip, he did all the dirty jobs. We disagreed, and I will call Ahmed and say, Ahmed, I thought you were a Pentecost elder. Why are you doing this to me? And he says that, Menstru,
We are still in the studios of Adwa TV. I am Elizabeth Tamaklo, and we are having discussions on the affairs of our 8th Parliament. I'm here with Na Anyama Collison, my senior colleague, who just joined us in the studio. Now you're welcome.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure being here once again.
Okay, so we're going back to Maxwell. Maxwell, you already gave us some overview of Parliament, what it entails, the works that they do. What more do you have for us?
All right, so but I want to put you people into one corner, a very tight corner. Do you think that should we continue practicing the unicameral system, and also the 4th term for our parliamentary? Is it enough? I know some presidential candidates last year or during their campaign, they mentioned that when they come, they will increase the lifetime of our presidential candidates or the presidential tenure. So do you think that the 4th term for our parliamentary, it's enough? It's okay for them to do what they are doing, or they need more time for development of Ghana in their span? And also for the unicameral one system, we shouldn't look at our numbers. If we think that we can do the 2-chamber system, should we do it as a country?
Okay, so
let me start with the my boss.
I'm so sure that this was coming to me, but I think that first of all, the issue of extending the tenure for parliamentary candidates or members of parliament and the presidency as well, for the sake of the democracy that we practice, will not be too helpful, because they say democracy for the people, by the people, and so therefore for the sake of incumbency fatigue, if we allow it, or we go for it, or we make the choice to be give an extension to our members of parliament to stay in for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, whatever the agreement will be, I think will not be helpful. On the other side of things, provided they are doing the right thing and what the people deserve, then it means that, well, it is okay. But then we need to have a caveat in the sense that, let's take a clue from our sister country, Rwanda. They appreciate the development that they have seen so far, and for that matter, anytime they go to the polls and there is Paul Kagame, they keep voting for him. This means that yes, he can do the work, we like him, but we need to go through a system. So the system needs to be there, so that if you like it, then continue choosing it. If you don't like it, there's an opportunity for change, so that we can also keep changing. If you mess up, we change. If you do the good work, we maintain. So that's
you made mention of democracy, and because we are practicing democracy, which will not be healthy for us to practice those. But I believe that those countries also practicing the bicameral, they also practice democracy at the same time.
Yeah.
So why can't we operate such system as a country? Because looking at their advance in terms of development, I'm thinking that probably it might be part of maybe the system that you're operating, leading them to develop quickly and also faster. So if we also want to go into that, is it benefit for us, or we should get some numbers for the basics before we can enter into it? Or maybe our nature, the nature of we coming from Africa, or maybe any other stuff, we can't operate such system. I don't know if you can also come again in that, or I should go to my boss sitting in the middle.
Maybe
she's saying that
will have a bite there.
Ghana, we can't operate such system.
If you ask me, I think that if you look at the kind of corruption around us, even within 4 years, do you think that they need more additional period to be more corrupt? And then there is word that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you look at the attitude of some government appointees, and when you look after election, you look at the way they speak, the way they behave just after the election, then you and I will agree that elections transform, helps people to behave well. So for me, I also think that the framers of this particular 1992 constitution, they look at a lot of things. Don't forget that then it was everybody, ordinary person, and everybody who want to sit down and choose this particular. And for me, I think that is worked. My brother, if you can do something, you don't need the praises will be there. Like he stated, if you are good, you get the chance to come again. If you are bad, you are kicked out. You go and you learn your lessons. I believe that if you look at the face of the president-elect, no one will tell you that it's coming from some background, it's coming from that some experience. And for the past 2 weeks, if you look at the kind of people he wants to work with, that alone should tell you that this is coming from somebody who has tasted, who has experienced power before, and knows that this time is a no joke area. So for me, I don't believe that we must give more years. I think that we must maintain. We've done 32 years of this. We should allow ourselves to go more. Let's not be looking at that already developed area where the systems are there. For me, we don't have the systems. So this is one area.
We need to create a system for ourselves.
No, yes. So this is the time for us to be creating system. As we go along, we create the system. We will get to a time we realize that the system is working. Even seriously, I always say that we have laws. We have a lot of laws in Ghana. Yesterday, a friend was arrested by police, and then the policeman wanted to take him to the police station. He drove the policeman to his boss. When the policeman saw the boss, then he allowed the person to go. You know why? Because there is no system. That policeman is picking that person at the right place, at the wrong place. He knows that he's not supposed to work there. He goes there to pick this person. The intent is to take money from that person because nobody checks him. So he has the right to even allow the person to go, although the person has done the wrong thing. I believe that when you travel to some countries and police arrest you, you know where you are going. When you even jam the traffic light, you know that by the time you get home, when you are not even parking at the right place, the system is there. Let's use this, what you claim to be short 4 years, to set up the system. So in future, when the system is there, I thought you will not even care who you have given power to, because the system will be checking that person. Now, it's every place you go in Ghana, human being is using his own power to do what he or she is not supposed to do. So for me, I think that is okay for now. Okay. It's okay for now.
Elizabeth.
Okay, before Elizabeth comes in, if you can look at the screens right now, there are live scenes and pictures of what is going on in Parliament now. We can attribute the main chamber is being closed ahead of the preparations for the inauguration of the 9th Parliament. And I'm sure in some few hours to come, we'll see members of Parliament, both who are new to Parliament and the senior members of Parliament too, will be heading towards it. So these are the live scenes from the Parliament of Ghana in Accra. Yeah, Elizabeth, you can take your turn.
So Elizabeth, I was asking you, do you also agree with me that we should get more than 4 years for our parliamentary?
Well, I think that my guest and then my colleague here has made very valid points as to why we should still maintain the 4-year system in Ghana. But don't you think that when we actually increase the term, it actually gives the president or the government more time to be able to implement whatever they have brought into power? Again, it's also going to save the country a lot of costs, because now we know that every 4 years we have to spend money on elections and then the proceedings and all. So I think that if we are able to increase it, then we can save some costs.
So yeah, it's a cost effective. Were you an economic student?
No, I wasn't.
well, I quite disagree. You see, when we have systems, the money we spend in our elections will drop. Because when I know that my duty is to come on the 7th of December somewhere to come and vote, and I have good work, I will not follow you to give me money, to influence, then t-shirt to follow me and all that. So that cost, when the systems are there, you reduce your level of influence, which is a cost matter.
Yeah.
You understand? So when I believe that when the US they were voting in November, it was cool. You didn't even hear a lot. You didn't see macho men. You didn't see ballot box stuff and things. If systems are working, there will be no need for agents. There will be no need for ballot box. You just click a button and you are voted. And all those things. So for me, Barack Obama said this many years ago, that our problem in Africa is our systems. When you build systems, I work in an institution, I work in 2 institutions, 2 banks, let me be specific. One with strong systems, and one with, when you want to take a loan, you have to see Kweku before. And the other, where there's a system, you put in the figures, and where you qualify. When you do, you can't go and call your father. No IGP matter, no president matter. If you are denying the loan, you are denying. You understand? So I have experienced how systems work. And I'm saying that if we build systems, it will reduce a lot of cost. You understand? And some of these things, I understand where she's speaking from what she's seeing currently.
In terms of cost.
Yes, in terms of cost. And yes, we are incurring more cost because we are not doing the right thing. When we start doing the right thing, a lot of those costs will move off. Again, if you tell the Ghanaian that tomorrow I'm coming, if you are working in an area where you have auditors, when they say the auditor is coming, you stay overnight to ensure you put things in place. Because exactly. So when you know that in 4 years, you go to the polls, you know that first year you play along, second year, third year, you have to be thinking about putting your house in order. Unfortunately, the MPP were trying to put their house in order. That is why they have to open, go to Obechebi. The road is not complete, but they have to force, and Akufo-Addo need to go and commission it because he was late. If not, they won't finish. And the traffic will go through the traffic because they know that there will be time for accountability. It will always be. When we expand the time, they will spend 4 years. If we expand it to 6 years, they will spend 4 years to loitering around not doing anything. And when it's 2 years, they will start like we are doing now. We spend 1 year, 2 years, we do what we like. And then by the half of 3 years, then we will start working. It's an attitudinal thing, and we can only be corrected by putting the right system in place where when nobody is looking at you, you know that you have to do the right thing because something, some way, somehow is checking you.
I think it's time for us to maybe initiate our political financing or maybe campaign financing, maybe initiative. If you look at the US, for instance, the states, one way or the other, support campaigns. They have provisional funds that they use to support every political party, including the independent candidates. Then you adapt. So that's why you made mention that there's no snatching of ballots, boxes, and any other stuff. But it gives fair. In our jurisdiction, we don't have something like that. So cost effective. I think that I do agree. Yeah, one way or the other, I do agree with that. If we vote every 5 years, I think.
What the 1 year difference? The 1 year difference. What would it make?
Oh, you can do lobby, to get a contract from the government for our constituents.
Really?
But don't you think that, okay, well, we are talking about the system and then saying that the 4-year system is going to hold people accountable for what they have said they want to do. Now, how about a system where after 4 years, we're actually going to put the ruling government on a hot seat, question him about some of his achievements, and ask him to argue or debate on why he should be given, say, 2 more years to continue?
I don't think that we have to go far on it. We have, maybe Salasi can help me. They set a time for us to question the president. We go as far back to the Jubilee House. We are accredited. We get journalists to sit and question the president. I think His Excellency President Akufo-Addo has done that maybe twice, if my checks are correct. In that his just once, I'm being corrected. In his tenure of 80 years, he has only had the opportunity for the media to talk to him and ask questions of his administration over the 8 years once. per what you're saying. So if it is not something that is documented in the constitution that president elect or president ruling the country should at least every year update the nation, account to the people, where they have opportunity to invite journalists to question him and all that. Recently, due to the COVID-19 outbreak, then we came out with a presidential update and all that, and then it became a system where the Ministry of Information now adopted to be updating the people of Ghana on many subject matters, including all parts of the economy and the country, for people to know what is actually happening in the work done. For me, I think it's a good thing, but then there's a long way to go, because you come and tell us, and we really, you tell us that, oh, this is what we have done, or this is what is being done. A clear example is the Saglami Housing Project. Governments over the times, or people representing governments, Ministry of Information has, and the minister in charge of that particular sector, works and housing, has come to update us that, oh, we spent this, we're using this, we're doing this, and then you see that work done is zero actually when you go on the ground. So it is a two-way affair where citizens would really demand accountability of per the updates that government brings to the doorstep of the people. So it's a two-way.
But I don't think that the best way to do what you say we should do is by voting. So you tell me what you have done.
Yes, then
I'll go and vote on it, whether you have really done it. So somebody tells me, we've done Agenda 146. Okay. And you mention my area. I know that place
it's not there.
It's not there. I won't say anything. But you said you've done it. So put the ballot box down, and then I will determine whether it's true or not through the ballot. So that tomorrow you won't come and tell me what is not there. You understand?
Yes, absolutely.
As we sit now, I think we are battling some commissioning and
the hospital that was commissioned
or something.
Yes, yeah.
I love the contractor. He's now he's a contractor and government, and I always say that is a bad. Can you imagine a contractor fighting government, the presidency, because the presidency is not doing the right thing? The contractor is saying that in the contract you cannot come to site until I have finished and handed over the project to you. You owe me. There are money that you have to pay, but I just run to the site and then you telling me that you have done commissioning. You understand?
Yeah,
so you leave the people are saying or whatever.
Yeah, it's the project.
Yes, they know whether you've done it or not. So put the ballot box down. So it's not what you are telling me, or after you've told me what you want to tell me, you give me the time to decide whether it's true or false, and that will be every 4 years. And for me, I think it's fine. But if you've done the right thing, you win and win and win. We only go through a process of saying yes or no.
It's a procedure that we all need.
So I wanted to ask about the camera where we operate one system, but then because of time, I think let's continue with the 8th Parliament. So Ghana went to the poll on 7th December 2020, and in 2001, the life of the 7th Parliament ended when it was dissolved. The 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic was then ushered on the 7th of January 2021 when the new honorable members of parliament were sworn into the office. 275 members of parliament represent the interests and concerns of Ghanaians in parliament. So this is the breakdown we did. So according to the website of the Parliament of Ghana, it says that for the New Patriotic Party, NPP, we're having 137 members of parliament, and for National Democratic Congress, NDC, with 137 independent candidates, was only one person. In total, we are having 275. So as it stands now, we have the 275 members of parliament. Their lifestyle or their lifespan will just elapse, maybe quite numbers of hours ahead of us.
I think it's being dissolved. If my checks are right, it's being dissolved. So now the 8th Parliament is being dissolved, and then we are now
waiting for the 9th.
Yeah, the inauguration of the 9th Parliament. So the 8th Parliament, with the leadership led by Speaker Bagbin, is being dissolved.
Yeah. So these are the leadership of Parliament, where Right Honourable Abba Sumana Kensford Bagbin, who represents the Speaker, And then we have Honorable Joseph Osei-Wusu, the first Deputy Speaker. We're having Honorable Andrew Siamamako, second Deputy Speaker. Afenyomakin for the Majority Leader. We're also having Honorable Patricia Apieje for Deputy Majority Leader.
Right.
Now Ato Forson also for Minority Leader. Honorable Emmanuel Kofi Amabua representing the Deputy Minority Leader. So these were the leadership. Some are here. Honorable Frank Anodonpre in some way MP, Majority Chief Whip. Honorable Habib Idrisu, also first Deputy Majority Whip. Honorable Alex Tete, second Deputy Majority Whip. And the minority, we were having Honorable Kwame Gavins for Minority Chief Whip. Honorable Ibrahim Ahmed, also for first Deputy Minority Whip. And Honorable Comfort Kujo, also for the second Deputy Minority Whip. So these were the leadership for the 8 parliamentary we started. Though along the way, you know, we Oseche Mensah Bonsu and other people were for both parties, Haruna Idrisu,
yeah.
but in some way 2023 they changed some of the position for the Haruna Idrisu, represented by Atuk Forson and others also there. So though they started, we have people who started for the 8th parliament, but though these are people who have ended with the 8th parliament. Now we are going to have a new faces for the 9th parliament, but we are yet to see were they being maintained for the both parties or the both leadership in the parliament.
I think the MPP had per checks. If producers can help us.
Yes, so it's here. We'll be looking at that.
Okay.
So for the 8th parliament, though we have talked about the leadership, we can't just oversight their achievements. So what are some of the notable legislative actions that they did? You know, aside approving budgets, they also function as in terms of making bills or laws for the states. So the Narcotic Control Commission Amendment, that's the Act 2023. This law legalized the cultivation of cannabis of industrial and medicinal purposes, making a significant shift in Ghana's drug policy. I remember when they said that, hey, now you give you a tool, we'll be able to manage you can. Remember we were there. We just woke up one early morning and say, hey, this parliament has approved that everybody can smoke weed and all something.
But that's not the actual point.
Yes.
People took it as that. That was pretty much misleading. But all the same, because it has to do with narcotics and medicinal purposes. So, yeah. So
these are some of the acts that they amended. And also Tax Exemption Bill 2022 aimed at streamlining Ghana's tax exemption regime. This bill addresses long-standing concerns about revenue loss. So the Parliament also made an exemption bill in 2022 regarding how our tax should exempt some tax waivers and other. This also pop up. We are also talking about that. And also Criminal Offences Act amendment. This landmark amendment has abolished the death penalty, positioning Ghana as a leader in human rights reforms in Africa. So this parliament, or the 8th parliament, also abolished. They made an amendment of the Criminal Act. So where at first, when the court or a judge said that, oh, we have given you a death penalty, a death sentence, whether we need to hang you or give you to a firing squad, now we don't even have the firing squad. So whether we need to kill you, be in a prison for the rest of your life, now they are saying that they made they abolished such things. So this 8th parliament were the people who abolished such criminal acts in our constitution. And also they also environmental protection bill passed to address present environmental challenges. This legislation underscores Ghana's commitment to sustainable development. But I don't know whether maybe if you want to take maybe at least on the criminal offenses.
My concern is on the environmental protection bill, which was passed to address present environmental challenges. Example like galamsey, usually noise pollution in the markets because everybody wants to talk in the megaphone. And what's the name? Please help me. The gas that comes out, fumes. That one.
Emission tax.
Emission tax. Yes. So thank you. I don't know how this particular legislation seems to have a connection with these ones.
Yeah, so all these forms part of the bills that they did. I remember the tax, the emission tax. You know, it was in Parliament where
Yeah, it was at the latter part of
yes.
Parliament.
So
yeah.
all these where I remember that very day I was going to buy as usual my favorite food. You know,
Yeah.
the GOB.
I understand your word. Now that you have the chairmanship, so it's fair. Now, yeah, the chairman is out of the scene for a while. When he comes back, you are the acting chairman. So when he comes back,
oh, okay, I know him.
please continue.
Yes. And I saw one vehicle with a lot of fumes, and I said, yeah, these are the people Parliament is targeting. They need this person. They need to tax him each and every day, maybe at least 100 Ghana cedis or something.
Hey.
But I learned it was some coins be on that or something. So these are some of the things that the Parliament did just to protect our environment. But you made mention of galamsey. I don't know the effort that they did, though they made a lot of efforts to stop galamsey, but it's where we are today. If you go out there, you can see galamsey is still being in operation. And also affirmative action.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. You know, it has something to do with Sustainable Development Goal 5, which talks about gender equality. So I was indeed extremely happy to hear that Parliament has passed the affirmative action bill. Why? Because when you check the data or the population of women in politics and women in Parliament currently, is not something to write home about. Though we are trying and we're doing our best. There was a gender advocate that I had an interview with prior to the election. Their concern was that anytime you go to the polls, that was before the polls, make sure you vote for a woman and a youth on the ballot. If you can find, I don't know if maybe.
I think I saw a post like that.
Yes, so I was extremely happy to see that Parliament, or to hear that Parliament has passed the affirmative action bill. Yeah, to me, is they did really well because it has been a while. Yeah.
So I think this actually reflects.
I know, obviously, you respond. For the way women like this particular.
It's important though.
Well, as I was saying, I think this reflects in the current leadership that has been appointed for government, as we see women in there, and we're actually hoping that moving forward we'll have more women in office.
We're living in it. The first female vice president is being elected, so we're living in it.
Exactly.
It's by the goodness of the affirmative action bill that talks about gender equality that was passed to promote gender equality in all sections of the society. So it is in the right direction to say that yes, we are emulating this particular bill by seeing that the first female vice president was on the ticket of a political party as a candidate and was voted into power. And that to me is a plus.
So, some people are making an argument that it looks like a threat to we the men.
No,
I don't know whether
I could tell that Derek had a lot to say when we were talking because he kept moving.
There is no threat. One. Number two, you know, I was taken care by my mom, and my children are girls, 3 girls. But you see, I differ in a way that when I see ladies like this, I feel very confident. I wish my children one day will become like that. But where some believe that they must get it on a silver platter, you understand? Because women must be there. She mentioned the vice president to be. I mean, if you look at the record, I mean, it's not about man or woman matter or gender. The woman deserves to be there, looking at what she's achieved. And I believe that any woman that she mentioned, or looking at the number of women that has been Valerie Sawyer.
Yeah, that recently there's the Foreign Affairs Minister Shelley Ayoko.
Yes, if you look at Shelley, if you look at the work that she's done over time, especially at the foreign ministry, they've done so much. So when you are pushing her, you know that you are pushing somebody, apart from she being a woman, she has what it takes to go there. And for me, it shouldn't be women. I have a problem where a woman is going to get a position, and because she's a woman, they have to, no, I don't want to, and I'll fight anybody anywhere. If the person deserves it, it should be given, whether she is a woman or a man. It should be competence based. You understand? Let me tell you something. Because of all these things, all my kids, I decided that they will learn maths. Because I don't want to believe that maths is for men. Who said it? So you have to do maths by force. Add maths, you have to. Meanwhile, I don't like maths at all. You understand? But we have created this perception that mathematics, engineering, science is for men, and the social sciences are for women. Who said it? So you have to do, if you are in my house, you have to do abacus. Yeah, you have to be sharp. And when you do these courses, when the man sees you, they know that you know. They know that obey. So it will not be you are a woman, you are a man matter. So my advice is yes, affirmative action bill and all that. The women must help work so that when some of us are pushing them, it will not be because she's a woman. It's not because Professor Nana is a woman. It's because she's overqualified for it. She should be a president.
A female vice chancellor.
Exactly, first.
Yeah, first.
And when you go out there, she has done it. I mean, what the men cannot do, she has done it and overdone it. So if she's even the president, it's not because she's a woman, because she qualifies to be there. And nobody can say that. And the problem is when she qualified to be there, and then we say because she's a woman. I have worked with a lot, and my best managers are women. You understand? They work. I've worked with ladies, Charlie. When the men are doing this thing, you call them, and they will work. I mean, so I look at the competency of that person, and there are a lot of competent women in Ghana, and we've done this. Yes, so that's why the affirmative action thing comes in, because she's a woman. No, she deserves the position. So give her the position, and let her do what she is capable of doing. So I support it, but what I'm saying is that women must deserve the position. No, it should not be. So we go into politics, the woman comes out, so let's give it to her because she's a woman. No, let's give it to her because she's better than that guy who want to, or she's competing with. And it should also not be because she's a woman, let the man go before. No, because she's competent, let's push her to work. And earlier I said something. All this nice bill and art and whatever. My problem is the implementation.
Exactly.
So we have tax exemption.
I was coming.
Last week. In fact, when I was sitting and I was waiting for you to finish, and that's what I was saying. Nice, and we have very nice ones in our cupboard and our boxes and in books. When it comes to implementation, that is when you see somebody will use there to say that. So especially the tax exemption thing. We know how difficult it is. It becomes friends and family. I know somebody who was giving a tax exemption, the whole Ghana turned upside down. Some hotel stuff. You understand? So these laws and arts and whatever must be used for the benefit. She mentioned galamsey, environmental protection stuff. If you go into our laws, there are laws that bars galamsey and all that. But we've allowed it to kill us, and it's killing us. Last week, I read somewhere that the one river in Takwa where I started my life, they cannot produce water because galamsey are sitting. The water is something else. So the Ghana water, people cannot produce water from that river again. See, I saw galamsey in Takwa those days where you cannot go to certain places and do your galamsey. You go and bring your stand somewhere and wash it and get. But now they all move to the river bodies. We have all these laws and we are adding more. Yet somebody is doing because there's a superpower behind that particular person. Yeah. So this law, the person look at them, move with your laws, and then they do what they like. So for me, yes, laws are good, acts are good, but the implementation. What haven't we heard about this thing they do in Parliament? They think that people come and they quiz them. They quiz them and
public account committee.
What haven't we heard? Are those perpetrators of all those bad things? Are they not Ghanaians? Don't they also go by some of these laws? But they finish and then they'll go and sit down 2 years after you call the auditor. Have they done? They say no, they have not. They are still doing it, and we are so here. One problem is, so we talk about systems, and then we talk about how to ensure that the laws that we have created, we have made, we ensure that people face the laws when they go against it, and that's the only way that Ghana can grow. Whether we are young, maybe I'm a bit older, very soon we'll die and go. But see, when these things are done, by the time we get to, we will enjoy. If we all ensure that these things are enforced, we will go to enjoy Ghana, because seriously, Ghana is a sweet place to be. Some of us, we don't want to travel, or we want to travel and come back because Ghana is a nice place to stay. But the difference between Ghana and the places that we want to go, if the systems are working, you cannot misbehave because you are the president's son. You can't take a position because you are the president's nephew and all that. The laws will work. And for me, all these things, and at the end of the day, we must see all these acts or bills or laws, being applied very well.
Let's see the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values there. The LGBTQ plus and the other the bill. This one also is the 8th Parliament who passed it on the 28th, 2024 this year. Last year 2024. So they passed. So it's the same administration who did that. I don't know if you want to take something on that. So I believe they have done, in terms of the law or the bills, they have really done well, but the effectiveness and the implementation, that's our challenge and our problem as a country. So
do you think we have problem with implementation? When we want it to work, look at e-levy. If we want it, we will implement it.
It's a system. You know where where the e-levy is passing.
It is about
I was going to say it depends on where it's going.
Yes.
Priorities.
Yes, but then
system counts, but priorities. All these legislative actions that was taken and passed and all that were there. Yes, still we had e-levy. E-levy was there before the human rights, proper human rights, before it came. E-levy was passed. Look at the wahala that members of parliament who were supporting this agenda went through.
And they're still suffering. Yeah.
And still, look at the swiftness that the court used to hear certain cases. No respect to the court, but then it is priorities. Well, that's my take.
Well, I think when it comes to economical policies or things that really go somewhere, there's a bit of quick response and quick approval by Parliament. But when it comes to bills that affect individuals, not necessarily, kind of financial benefits to them, that's when we have all of these things dragging out. So maybe looking forward, I'm sure that things will increase, like you say, the system. So we are hoping that the system changes. Yeah.
So let's look at some of the key achievements. Now we have looked at the legislative actions. The key achievement: introduction of new standing orders. So the Speaker came up with a new standing order. When before they start Parliament, they have a way they introduce or they usher the members into the meeting or whatever that they are coming to do. So
the
Speaker,
sitting.
yes, the sitting. So under the urban leadership, the 8th Parliament modernized its procedures by introducing new standing orders. These reforms streamline debates and enhance legislative oversight, and making the House more efficient and responsive to citizens' needs. I used to think about, do we witness much debates during the 8th Parliament? People were saying that it's a hung parliament, so we wanted to witness a very hottest debate where it's 37. So if you say I say, but here is the case. Before I realize they pass, before they do they pass. So there wasn't any hottest debate in Parliament. I don't know whether
I disagree with that, because I think that for this current Parliament or the 8th Parliament, they actually gave us a lot of debate, because now it's up to just one person to give either parties a win. So it's for you to actually come out with your policies and then give us reasons why it should be passed. Put in a lot of work for it to be passed. You know, that is when we actually witness some of the chaos that came into parliament, because now both parties know that it's not about majority and minority having, maybe majority having a lot of people, so easily a particular bill will be passed. But now you know that you're on equal seats, and so you may have to do a little bit of more work for you to go forward.
I think that being said, I have noticed and I've been watching most often the sittings. Parliament has been commencing anytime they are sitting. I have the opportunity to chance on one or two other things. What I observed personally is that attendance to Parliament was not really a matter to members of Parliament. And depending on the issue, you either see more or less. Just this afternoon, when I think the front bench was given their closing remarks, I think before that, I noticed the seats in parliaments are not full. If it is State of the Nation's address, you see the masses.
Yeah.
If it is regular parliamentary sitting business of the chamber, you see that the chairs are empty in the chamber. And for that, it has contributed to this particular weakness that we'll be mentioning subsequently. And I think that Right Honorable Speaker bringing on the new standing orders, well, it helped in a way, but then we still have a long way to go.
Well, to add to that, I think that parliamentary work most often are done at the committee level. So if you don't hear a lot of debate in the House, or what we see, a lot of debate has gone on, and at times you bring the report to Parliament and the debate is just a short one. When you follow up, you know that they did a lot of debate at the committee level, which normally we won't see, and that's another good thing. But normally, when you see disagreement, mostly in Parliament, it's about something that they don't really agree about. But most often, regardless of the number, when it's something that they have to work to, especially the anti-LGBT, you saw both sides. Yes, you bring the bill to Parliament and you see the opposing part making contributions too, because he or she agrees with whatever content is in that bill. So they do that a lot. I mean, talking to Nulante Vanapo, he will tell you that normally when there are disagreement on a particular bill, that is when the thing comes out, it doesn't work well. So A11, when the opposition were cautioning the government, then now A11 is introduced, and you see both John Mahama and then Bawumia saying that they will scrap that particular tax system, because when it was being introduced, somebody cautioned, Charlie, let's not do it that way, because so we hear most of these things when there are disagreement, but often they agree, they judge, they both do the input, and it comes out. That is why when normally there is a bill or there is a law, somebody will tell you that don't say that you people are not part, because you were there when it was passed. So it is the 8th Parliament law, not MPP law or NDC law.
That's fair.
And so let's also look at the political oversight rule. I remember even the majority caucus, they even came out that, Master President, please sack the finance minister because he lacks, or maybe now he can't do what we are expecting him to do. So can't we remove him from office and bring something or someone new? So you can see that the 8th Parliament, in terms of when the government was going for the loan from the IMF, it brought in a lot of debate in the Parliament, where the both minority and majority were just bashing each other in the Parliament House, and also the e-levy policy, the e-levy bill. It's also it's a bill, right? E-levy.
E-levy,
yeah.
It's also there, and they just had a debate on that. So the 8th Parliament brought in a lot of things that we can consider that they were looking into the government policies. Anything that government will bring on board, they have to scrutinize very well to come up with, no, this one put this here, this one do it like this, or even as I said earlier, the majority saying that this person is our own person, but kindly remove him from office and let's get a new face to do something. So they did well in terms of the parliament oversighting what government or the gross other ministry does. And we also have the passage of significant legislation. We have already looked at some of them. We have the affirmative action bill in 2004, anti-LGBTQ plus legislation, tax exemptions, criminal offences act amendments. So these are some of the things, achievement this 8th Parliament did in a short, within 4 years. So this comes the reason why I asked the question, do they need much time or much?
Maxwell,
Whatever they release, other people will continue.
No,
much time that
system.
they needed. Have we been able to apply all these laws? Have we been able to what's the word? Today I'm losing all my words. Have you been able to, follow up on all these laws?
So
Like
what said that
successfully?
the implementation and it's not only them implement. They come up with the bill.
The laws.
Then the government will make assent and implement.
So we don't need a backlog of laws that we need to implement when the ones that were being passed by members of parliament are still yet to be implemented. I don't think it makes sense because we pass law for the society to move on. And so therefore, if we have passed the law and the law is sitting there awaiting implementation, and then we say that we need more time for people to pass laws, who are we leaving the unimplemented laws for to come and implement?
But as the president assented the anti-LGBTQ.
No,
I don't
he
think
didn't.
he has.
He didn't. He didn't.
Maybe he will do it. He will do it this
Yes,
evening.
he still has more time.
Now, because what I heard is, if he's unable to do it or refuse to, it means that this particular law will go back and go through the system, which
the
will be.
process again.
So that is where you come in, where
the
it will be
cost.
waste of,
Exactly.
it will be cost matter.
So assuming that maybe it was 5 years, president have maybe.
He has a
So assuming, but you see, don't forget, we have February, February 2024.
Yeah.
In some few days, you'll be 1 year. Assenting is signing in English. Sign. The president sat at the Jubilee House and told us that somebody is going to court. We should wait for the person to go to court when the president.
They've called.
And so no, but they finished with that. I'm saying that the president, instead of him to assent, he said we should wait. Parliament should wait for him, for the person to go to court and come. When the person has gone to court and come. We are still having problems with that's the debate for
So he needs more time.
Time to assent.
Yes.
Assent is sign you.
But he needs to read.
Append your signature. Oh no, but he doesn't read. He has a lot of people who read for him. In fact, they has 137 people who will read and they even supported this bill. So that one, he doesn't need to read. He only need to assent. Okay. Just assent.
So
let's move on then.
So that's the LGBTQ. I believe that maybe the 9th Parliament, they will make everything fast and Mahama will assent. Some is saying that he will do his possible best for John Dramani Mahama to assent.
I think His Excellency the President-elect John Dramani Mahama shared with foreign media his concerns about the LGBTQ prior to December 7 elections. And what he says was that there's a lot of way to go around these things if you do not want to assent to it. But then His Excellency President Akufo-Addo did not and refused to do those things. And it means that he has to come. I think BBC, he was speaking to Thomas Nadi. He mentioned specifically that would he, President-elect John Dramani Mahama, that time candidate John Dramani Mahama, assent to the bill. He has his own reservations about the bill. Notwithstanding, he's also ready. If this is what the people want, why not? The issue of it having something to do with our bilateral partners and multilateral partners and all that around the world, foreign direct investment may decrease and what have you. He, as a capacity, in the capacity of a president, has his own reservations, and there's always a way going around it. So yeah, he mentioned it before he was even elected as president. So let's just cross our fingers and see what he can do about it. And
I always ask this question: do we need it, the bill? Do we need it as a law?
Looking at what is going on the street of Accra, we need it.
I think everybody is trying to be very diplomatic about this one,
it's hard.
So that
maybe
we don't see one party as being biased. And so I think we could also say that it was one of the reasons why they actually lost majority of the seat in parliament, because we know that majority of Ghanaians per our culture frown against that. And so then once you have not signed the bill, it means that in a way you are approving the bill without us knowing, you know.
Well, there could be other instances too as well. Other instances could be the issue of galamsey, economic conditions, living standards of citizens in the country and all of you. One of the interviews that I chanced on earlier today, the former minority leader and member of parliament for Tamale Central constituency, Honorable Haruna Idris, was specifically stating that one of the weaknesses of the 8th parliament was that they could not prevent government from excessive borrowing, which has led to the economic crisis that Ghanaians are going through, in a way making people vote against the current government in power, because they care about their living standards. If you make me comfortable as a citizen in Ghana and my business is running, I don't have to make a lot of laws to be shouting, foreign currencies is going up, people's business are running down, then it calls for it. With an addition of what she just said too, well, it could be.
Basically, let's look at some of the budget approval. You know, for the past, all the budgets being presented in Parliament, these MPs just approved the budget. No matter what they would do, they would just scream, yell, panting and ranting. But yet, before you realize,
but let's not forget, they change. Yes, at times they do some changes. I forgotten, but there was this thing in one of the budgets which they managed to tell the finance minister to do something about it.
The foreign former finance minister Ken Oforiatta,
which was done. So you know, a lot goes into some of these things, and for me, you see, at times when they talk about budget is estimation. It's what I think I will do. Yeah. My problem is we talk about this budget and we overspend. You understand? So
is always on my heart.
Yes. So I'm not too much of this budgeting. I believe in the actual expenditure, and then we do maybe year on year comparison to know whether we have done, and then what exactly those monies are used to. I always praise that Ghana Gas project. You understand? Sometimes like you and I will be queuing for this gas thing with the coming on, the kind of money we invested into that project. Today, we know that most of these
the liquefied petroleum gas stations.
Exactly.
And then there is a cylinder recirculation model by the National Petroleum Authority as well.
And then the support they give to the generation.
Is that really being implemented now?
Oh, I think I've seen a couple ones around.
Yeah, so
cylinder recirculation.
I want to see monies go to the right places, pay for whatever loans that we've gone for. Okay. So for me, that so I'm not too much of a budget. We pass the budget and then we always overspend. I
think we have our parliamentary correspondent reporting from Parliament, Stephen Bito, and we're going to speak to him and get a sense of what is happening now. Hello, Stephen. Good evening. If you can hear me, welcome.
Good evening. I can hear you clear. Can you also hear me?
It's been a great day since morning till now. It must be tiring, I guess.
Yeah, it's very tiring, but as you know, the nature of the job. for service of God and country. So we need to be in it.
Well, paint a picture for us. What is happening in Parliament now?
Yes. Ashaiman, Honorable Ernest Nogbe occupying the majority side, giving the sense of moving into the 9th Parliament.
Okay,
and
Stephen, please hold on. So now the doors have been opening for members of Parliament to get seated, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 9. Okay,
yeah.
Please go ahead.
So apart from the 2 honorable members, the other members are not in here. We are getting to the sense that others are in their hotels. Probably they have to do some rituals to get here. So we are waiting for them to get here. But the sense of getting is that the majority caucus are ready to take action with their majority rightful states. But the minority are not in yet.
Okay, I can see that on our screens. I think I've seen 4 members of Parliament in the chamber. Just by way of finding out from you earlier, because in the morning we didn't get the opportunity to speak to you on the 8th Parliament. Maybe you can use some few minutes to conclude for us what you think or what actually will be the overview of the 8th Parliament while we're prepared to move to the inauguration of the 9th Parliament.
Yeah, so the 8th Parliament, when they reconvened for the last sitting, you could see the comments from each side describing this Parliament and the 8th Parliament as the one that upheld democracy. The Honorable Alexander Fenimaki, the then majority leader, described the minority leader as stubborn, radical, and one that frustrated government business. And then the opposing leader also believed so well that they did what they had to do in the interest of Ghanaians. In fact, the Speaker commended both houses for cooperating, which actually inured to the benefit of Ghanaians. Even though some astounding bills couldn't pass through, they believed so well that it wasn't the decision entirely of Parliament, but the collective interest of Ghanaians. So, briefly, the 8th Parliament, the comment that came characterized cooperation and working in the interest of Ghana.
Thank you so very much for the overview. But are you anticipating something differently, or what's your thoughts as members of Parliament prepare to commence the inauguration, especially the numbers that we have: 4 independent candidates, a whopping majority for the NDC, and a minimum minority for the MPP?
What I'm anticipating, the info I've gathered, it looks like the NDC has actually sought an injunction on the 4 disputed constituencies. And if indeed that happens, then we might witness what actually happened in the 8th Parliament, where we'll be experiencing some legal arguments on that basis. That is, if the various people were not served at the right time. And so, if it goes through, then we'll be expecting some legal arguments on that basis.
Earlier, did you cite any of the new members of Parliament that were elected? Did you cite them around or in the chamber before now?
I haven't seen any. I think it was on Friday that I saw the Honorable and the Magbana around during the last SONA.
Yeah, I think that's for the registration, I think.
Yeah, the last one, he came for the registration, he entered the chamber, able to watch the prelims of what is yet to do when he entered the 9th Parliament.
Okay.
So,
please go ahead.
Yeah, so I haven't seen any of the new MPs elect yet. I think where the info I've gathered on the NDC side, they are camping them at a particular hotel, which is not disclosed to me yet. And so I'm trusting that maybe they might come with the bars that they came out with the last 4 years.
Okay. This is just to find out what you're thinking of. Now, the Clerk of Parliament will be taking his position after 4 years that what we've witnessed last 4 years. What has been the atmosphere? What has the media been saying? What's the conversation around as the clerk prepare to swear in the speaker for the 9th Parliament, as we also look forward for the swearing in for the 9th Parliament?
But an interview with the clerk yesterday, the acting clerk, he anticipated to have a smooth work this night because of the nature of overwhelming majority between the two sides. It is not going to actually make his work difficult. Okay. And so we are looking forward to a very smooth process, smooth atmosphere where there wouldn't be any back and forth.
Finally, tell us about security arrangements in and around the chamber and the Parliament of Ghana around, if you're making your way there. What's the security arrangement?
With the security arrangement, I can tell you that its security is very beefed up, right from the entrance, the main entrance, all through to getting into the chamber. You need to have accreditation to be able to enter into the chamber. Without that, you cannot enter.
Very well.
And so security is very tight. No two ways about that. Security is very tight.
What are you personally anticipating for the inauguration of the 9th Parliament before we go?
Well, I'm looking forward to the joy that will be in the faces of some MPs. Personally, I know some of them, and what that will mean for them officially getting the chance to be MPs and what lies ahead of them as their responsibilities. And so we look forward to them that when the officials take place, that they are sworn in, we'll engage them to anticipate the task ahead of them and how they can bring development to their constituents.
Very well. Thank you so very much, Stephen Bito. He's a parliamentary correspondent. He's the man on the ground in Parliament, ready and beefed up to brief us on all the happenings in Parliament as we look forward for the 9th inauguration of members elected when we went to the polls on December 7, 2024. In some few hours or minutes, I should put, it was advertised that sitting will start at 9. It's 40 minutes past 9. And then we understand that members of Parliament are trooping in as and when. Security is very beefed up in Parliament. So, yeah, all is set, guys.
All right, so I think we are going to move on to Maxwell as he updates us more on some key achievements by Parliament.
You have said everything, and you can't oversight this. The vacant seat issues, and the absenteeism. You know, there are two issues here. It's a time where Adrasafo, Domekwabe MP, left Ghana, spent almost a couple of months out there while the constituency was there. People were talking about it. How can an MP leave when they call, you are not speaking? He's just come to TikTok or social media saying a whole lot of things. So it's become a lot of controversy in the country here, and also upset the vacant seats, where if we're a member of Parliament and you are maybe leaving your party to another party, you need to vacate your seat, or if you want to become independent, or you are an independent, want to go into another political party, you need to vacate your seat. This one also became a controversial issue in the country. I'll take your thoughts on that, but let me finish it. So these are some of the legacy that these 8th Parliament, without forgetting that recently we're going to have launch or the commission
of the Muslim Parliament Museum,
something, and also
it's been done.
It's been done.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's open to the public. I cannot speak on that matter.
I think maybe very soon.
Yeah, it was advertised.
And also Democracy Cup. I think this Parliament or Speaker brought something like Democracy Cup, where I think those parties go to field and play some soccer, and even they send the cup or the trophy to president. So these are some of the achievements, some of the things that the Parliament did. So, but the vacant seat, I don't know how you are thinking that this Parliament faced something like that. And also absenteeism. Aside they doing the right thing, almost one pop this is Parliament.
I mentioned it earlier that you could spot people not really in the chamber when business is commencing. We understand because he made mention that there are committee sittings sometimes, so some way somehow hinders members of parliament not to be present in the chamber to take part in business for the day. But nevertheless, I think that well, we don't expect 100%, presence of members of parliament, because they also have to deal with issues from their constituents and constituency as well. Some of them are ministers of state, so it is accepted. But your core duty that you were voted into power is to give a representation of a particular constituency that you are coming from. So if you don't show up, we understand there are other duties, which could be that you are maybe minister of state, you are attending to a state or all important business. Sometimes they put it all important assignment and all that. But I think that we can do better.
But for Adwoa Safo case,
well, I think her case was more personal than just leaving
out
office.
Of contest. Yeah, and the vacant seat issue did not start from her. It started with the Formina MP. And then there was a ruling at that time where Speaker Michael Okwe gave a ruling, and then they pronounced his seat vacant. And that was why he went independent. And he won and he came back. Now, there is a progression of events where from the 8th Parliament, the beginning of it, there are issues concerning vacant seats. And then they continue from that. Then you come to Adwoa Safo. Then you come to the recent vacant seats that former majority leader and member of parliament for Tamale South went to trigger, leading to the is it four vacant seats that Honorable Aruna Ivisu went to trigger, that brought about a whole lot of controversy.
Minority
issues.
Becoming majority and majority.
Thank you. Where it was discussed both on traditional and local media. I think that we should find a way, or we should understand this game concerning the vacant seats, because even the speaker on his ruling, and when you compare the ruling from Speaker Michael Okwe of the 7th Parliament, and the precedent he took in pronouncing the Formina seat vacant for him to go and come back, and then taking precedence from what Speaker Bagbin has also done, and the issue was taken to courts, and there's a lot of things that we ourselves need to, learn and understand before we can properly talk about it. But as it stands now, well, I think the vacant seat issue did not start from the 8th Parliament. It started from the 9th Parliament before we got here. And so therefore, there's a long way of connecting the dots and making us understand well. Nevertheless, I rest my case.
Well, I think that is one part. You earlier mentioned the Adwoa Safo and Kennedy's one, where they were not present.
But Kennedy asked for official.
Exactly. So that is where I wanted to come. You see, there are rules, or they've outlined systems or ways of giving feedback when you are not coming, and I think that is where Adwoa Safo find herself. Wanting, I think that she should have just asked for a formal.
But I think I read somewhere that she had the consent from the president.
Yeah, so that's
the president is not in
the chamber. So that's the difference.
Yes, the chamber, the
presidency
is the man of the house.
Yes.
So anything else you address to the speaker, or you write to the speaker.
Yeah. So the presidency is aware, and they know the reason why she was not around. You understand? But I think that the speaker did well at a point. It was the issue was referred to, I think, the privileges committee. Then they brought their report, and then at the end the Adwoa Safo had to just come back. And I think they voted on it also, that she had to come back. But I think the learning bit is that when you are in an area where there are rules and regulations, especially they coming from a rule house or where laws are made, that you simply need to seek permission to be able to go out. She should have just done that. And I think that is one thing that we must all learn. When you are in an institution and there's a rule, and you must just try and go through that particular law so that you'll be free wherever you are. I believe that but what we've heard is that she has a personal women issue that she thought that she need to excuse herself, and then if she's able to tell the presidency, I think that same must be done to where she works directly, that is in parliament. So, and I think that thing affected her so much, so that she lost a role in parliament, and then she lost also a seat even from the primaries, you know, before
the main elections.
before the main election. Where
Ghanaians know how to punish.
Yeah, no, I love Ghana.
Punish,
I love Ghana. Sure, this particular election, we are still discussing it. I still discuss with friends. At times, just a few hours ago, a friend was like, "Oh, one constituency, the person won with 3,000." I said, "Oh, 3,000 is plenty." He said, "No, Derek, stop. Somebody has got 40,000, quite over 10, 30,000, yes, 20,000 over 10 easily. So if you are 3,000 there tomorrow, no, when it's election and you've not behaved well, you should know that it can be over 10 easily." I love Ghanaians.
I think we are moving from the perception
I know
of
you,
I know you, and
party
it's
and
time for elections, and so let me give you a little, money so that you vote for me. I think now Ghanaians are really paying attention and holding the government accountable for what they do. So I'm sure that we'll make a lot of progress.
So these are some of the development achievements that the 8th Parliament brought across. I hope we are going to miss them a lot. Especially
We
the
sure will.
LGBT and the
I mean, I won't miss them. It's their work. They finish. Other people should come and continue. Because I'm not sure I missed the 7th Parliament. I don't remember the 6th Parliament. No, they are finished. They will be history. Tomorrow we are starting a new thing, and I believe that we must hold people accountable when they are giving duties, roles, and responsibilities to perform. And that's the only way we can develop. The person is my friend, but when I work with some man, his best friend was in his department, and the best friend thinks that because I'm in your department, I'll do whatever I like. When it's time for performance appraisal, oh, you are my friend. In fact, they eat together. They go to places together. I'll just give you the best mark because you are my friend. At the end of the day, this principal man is now a pastor. I like that man too much. He gave the friend the lowest grade. And the friend was going to say, but you didn't do A, B, C. Then that's exactly what I have done. When it comes to money, when they give you money, I'll give you some. Because you are my friend. But for the work, it must be done. I believe that when we have this kind of attitude where we tell our friends or we hold our friends accountable, they will want to do the right thing. If we hold our political members accountable, not the opposition, but our own people accountable. And for me, this is what I want to do. When you are even somebody I know, I have a lot of friends, the NDC, you must work. Because when we work, we will all be free. You must not just think that you get the goodies and go and sit home and enjoy with your family. No, we must move from that. And like she stated, Ghanaians are becoming wide awake. Ghanaians are becoming smart now. So when you want to do what you like, know that after 4 years that you said you will
teach you a lesson.
Teach you a lesson.
Teach you a lesson. So let's move on.
So let's see what we have next. And but for me, as for the 8th Parliament, I really miss it.
They sure will, because they've been very dramatic.
Yeah, what do you expect?
I like their drama.
No, there will be more drama. Because you see, the 9th Parliament, what will happen is that we have the micro minority plus the whatever majority. The micro, they will be shouting. Yes, they will be shouting from, but nobody will hear them. I foresee something like that because I've already seen Afenyomakin doing his own thing.
No one is listening.
Yeah, that is it. He'll be shouting plenty. He'll be shouting plenty.
Shout, let's see.
Yeah, then you will shout. You will do what you like. I foresee that, but then I also think that the NDC, knowing that a lot of people will be watching them from outside Parliament, they must try as much as possible to do the right thing. Because when they don't, 4 years
just at the corner
will come.
Let's look at the ninth parliament. So is it Adiano Ebedane Adane? So these were people at first yesterday or today. Yesterday. Now I think there are no more minorities.
Yeah, they've gone off.
Let's try to give them the majority.
They are minority at 12 midnight. It's just 9:27.
Yeah. So tomorrow, these are the new faces you are going to see them. That's God's blessing, right? God's blessing. Today they are minority, but tomorrow their titles are going to change from being minority to majority. So after 14, now as a minority leader, tomorrow by this time will not be a minority leader.
You know, I was actually surprised when I saw Honorable Kessel Atufo Singh on the front bench as the leader of the majority caucus of the 9th Parliament, because I was tipping him for finance minister. But then let's see. Maybe I am too early.
Apparently, he will be the finance minister. But he's just stepping in for the majority leader for some few weeks.
I think what they have said, like you stated, is that they are maintaining their front bench for now, awaiting appointment from the presidency. Yeah, so that's basically what they have done. And I think that, yes, with experience and everything, it's better now, so that I doubt whether I will be the finance minister.
Well, let's just wait for appointments.
But let's try to assess his leadership as a minority leader in Parliament.
His time was pretty much short. Looking at the works that Honorable Haruna Idrisu has put together, I think that the former minority leader paved the way for him, because he did his best. He has done absolutely great. But you know, say it's a good thing to ride on the person's glory. He has done absolutely well. But then sometimes you could feel in between his banter with the other side of the bench, you could see that these are age colleagues and they are battling out in terms of political maturity. Unlike what I see when the former chairman Sabonsu and then Aruna, it's two different things.
It's another level
to get all together. I'm not seeking to compare the two, but I think that he has done absolutely great. If I look back on what Honorable Haruna Idrisu have done prior to his coming as a minority leader for Kessel Atufo Singh, Honorable.
Elizabeth.
So I think that, like Anyama said, he had a pretty short term, and so if he doesn't become the finance minister, then this will be his platform to actually show Ghanaians what he has for us and what he is made of. So yes, fingers crossed, we are seeing what he has for us.
Okay, so Maxwell, just before we go, let's cross over to the phone lines and speak to a senior political doyen, Percival Robertson. He's on the line. He's speaking from the diaspora. I would like to hear. Hello, Percival. Good evening from Ghana. Where you are, and what's the time, and how do I greet you?
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm greater than Thank you so very much for asking.
Awesome. A very good evening to Elizabeth Maxwell and then Senior Derek and Crab, who have enjoyed the conversations so far. And I must say that it's a delight to watch from afar.
Thank you so very much for your kind words. But let's set the pace. What's your overview of the 8th Parliament? Because 4 years ago, I recall vividly that you were in this seat from now till morning, assessing and analyzing the 8th Parliament that will be inaugurated some few time, and then you were talking specifically about the 7th Parliament. What's your overview? What's your initial reaction of the 8th Parliament, personally?
Thank thank you, Georgina, for the opportunity. And then once again, let me say good evening to our viewers who are watching from wherever they are watching from. Now, the 8th Parliament from its inception, even from the way it started, has started in much more of in a dramatic way. If you recall, the election of the Speaker was something we cannot forget. The snatch of the ballot papers, the running away by Colonel Zainka, that's where Butaka had to stop him, all other things. Even with the plenary objection that even came in to foresee that Jason was not sworn in that day, it was all part of the plenary procedure that took place 4 years ago, which we will not forget. I can tell you that they've lived up to expectation in terms of what we expected historically, what a hung parliament will look like.
Okay.
Because under the fourth Republican dispensation, we've not experienced at the parliament before. We had an outright majority in favor of the party in government, and it's almost like a rubber stamp parliament where anything the government of the day wants passes through.
Okay.
But this very parliament have not given room to the NPP administration in their second tenure as expected in their first tenure. So there are so many things that we cannot compare. But I find to say that it's very difficult to compare some pros and cons of the 7th Parliament to the 8th Parliament because the number dynamics is not the same. Leadership was not even the same. Now, things that could go amiss, not amiss per se, but we could overlook under Speaker Reverend Michael Okwe were not things that you could overlook under the leadership or speakership of as you call it. This is a person who has served integrally as member of parliament for the Nandoli constituency. He's become a minority leader. He's become a majority leader. In the very, very election that he decided not to contest and was retiring to be a parliamentarian was when he was given the bid to become Speaker of Parliament. A very novel thing that we've seen that for the very first time in our modern day political history of Ghana, we've not seen an opposition member being elected to become Speaker of Parliament before. That should tell you the rich experiences the membership of the experience in 8th Parliament saw in Babin. One, the friendship by then, the solidarity and synergy by then that we will between the 7th Parliament into the 8th Parliament membership, and that senior membership too as well, that we know. We saw the political machinations and dynamics that we got. The second deputy speaker, independent candidate, member of parliament for MENA, Isoma, who became second deputy speaker, who ideally it should have been from the NDC side, but the NDC strategically ensured that they maintain all 137 membership working and not out of the chamber engaging in senior leadership positions of parliament. So the 138 membership of the majority NPP side was falling short by 2 all the time. If the Speaker of Parliament was out of the chamber and one of the deputy speakers was also out of the chamber, we are left to just one person who sit in, and then the NPP member will drop it. Hence, there was a lot of work that needed to have gone in. Now, if you look at the words that have come in this parliament, of warning that it's a time for consensus building. My very good friend Aruna even kept hammering on it. It's a time for consensus building. And I'm not surprised that my very good friend, the Venerable Afanyomaki, it is time, very short time, I think 9 months, leader of the House, to kept hammering on the word consensus building. But one other thing that I would say that is being part of the shortcomings of this parliament is I heard you and now you make mention of the borrowing, as to which I agree that we did not really stretch their oversight responsibility on government pensions for borrowing. Hence, we found ourselves in this economic conundrum we found ourselves in. The other bit of it is that the violence we see in the house is really too much. You see, the kind of thing that happens in parliaments across the continent, things we've seen happen with no disrespect to my friends from the eastern parts of Africa, that you see people snatch speakers, the relative, the means, among other things. You could tell the war that happened in Parliament at the inauguration, and then on the day the EUV was to be passed in. So many things that are going wrong there. But I am glad that when this vacancy seat opened in, there was tension in the House, but it did not lead to violence. That should tell you that over the 4 years period, membership of the East Parliament have learned in a long while. So these are a bit of the few highlights I can give. I don't want to take you people back because I realize that you made mention of a lot of things that some I agree, some I do not agree to, but it is what it is. So this is my own observation about the 8th Parliament. And to wrap it up, it is to remind ourselves the very profound words of the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbe, who said that there is a need for an overhaul or a wake up on the role, functions, and responsibilities of Parliament. Parliament is much seen to be rubber stamp because of numbers, but it did not happen in this Parliament. The government of the day did not have their way throughout. Now, Speaker Gbagbe will give you the opportunity again to become Speaker of the 9th Parliament based on what the conversation in the media has been like, where His Excellency John Dramani, our President, is elected, mandated the leadership of the NDC in Parliament to nominate Gbagbe to be Speaker of Parliament. I do not think that the NPP side are willing to put any nomination forward because it will not do them any benefit. Should they nominate anybody to contest against Speaker? They will part of the process. It is not something we have to expect. So it means that Gbagbe is going to contest on things and then he's going to be elected Speaker for the 9th Parliament.
Very well.
As he's able to bring out some reforms.
Okay.
Right now.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. Conclude.
As he's able to go ahead with some reforms in terms of the standing order that he's going to modify, there are some other achievements he's brought to the parliamentary work, which I've based on my engagement with the media or public affairs committee applied in Parliament. I've engaged, and my uncle works at the activity office in Parliament, so I've been able to understand some of the off-camera changes that Gbagbe has been able to bring with it. Now, we are looking at him again to lead up to a petition in the 9th Parliament. Whether is going to see that the 9th Parliament becomes a rubber stamp and the government of the day has everything they are calling for, or they are going to have some stringent scrutiny and strong oversight as it's expected of members of Parliament and Parliament of Ghana to do.
Thank you so very much for your thoughts, Percival, on the 8th Parliament and what we look forward for the 9th Parliament. We'll cross over to you subsequently, but we'll have to end the conversation here. Then we will get to you again. Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure speaking to you. I've been joined in the studios by one man who was really involved in campaign up leading to His Excellency the President-elect's campaign thrill in the Ashanti region. That's the World Bank of the New Patriotic Party. It's lawyer Francis Boy. Welcome and good evening.
Thanks very much for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
I'm honored to host you. Let's get straight away because we have less time. What's the expectation of Ashanti region from His Excellency the President-elect because you were involved in the campaigning in that particular World Bank?
Thank you very much. In fact, campaign is over. It's time for nation building. So as far as that region is concerned, I've been there once after election. They are calm, they are expectant, just like any other Ghanaian. They have needs, just like any other Ghanaian. Key amongst them is their roads. It's predominantly agriculture driven as an economy there. So those are some of the things they expect the incoming government to touch on. And I trust His Excellency the President to do the needful as far as he's not coming to just target one region. He's done it before. He's coming to focus on the entire country. So with our prayers and our collective supports, I think he will deliver.
Yeah. Let me find out what's the momentum. The president-elect has made some appointments and their new role. What's the expectations from where you sit, and what are the new things that will be coming on board? Because the president has stated emphatically that he's going to run a lean government.
Yes. Okay, so I don't think there's anything surprising on the list that was released. Mr. Julius Zebra as the Chief of Staff is no news. He's been playing that role and he's done so masterfully. The rest, I don't think it's really surprising. Madam Marietta Brew as the legal counsel to the president, I don't think today anybody is more experienced and qualified for that role than her. Felix as acting spokesman, I mean, he's been doing it, and I don't think anybody can do it better than her. So for now, we should just pray for the president. He's promised to move from the norm of the elephant-sized government. He's promised to move to austerity. He's going to move to a very youthful government that I know for a fact. So for now, I think we should be calm. The pressure on him sometimes is a lot, but I think we should be calm. And with his experience, I don't think anybody has been more prepared to be president than His Excellency John Dramani Mahama at this time. So we should give him the benefit of the doubt. Those lobbying should calm down, and let's pray for him, because I know the responsibility is not a joke. It's an exciting time to be a Ghanaian, and it's our constitution in play. Many countries really don't have what we have. It's a very beautiful time to be a Ghanaian. Sometimes when you don't move around the sub-region, you underestimate the value and the worth of what we are enjoying. You know, where we go through the ballots, not through the bullets, finish an election, plan together. Today, His Excellency the President hosted the incoming president at the Flagstaff House. And I think it was a beautiful occasion. So those are my takeaways. I think it's a beautiful time to be a Ghanaian. As young people, we should be proud of our flag and then pray for our leaders. Basically, that's what I think, On expectation, when it comes to appointments and all that, it's a prerogative of the president.
Okay.
Luckily for us, he has hinted us that he won't run a big government. His cabinet will be around 60. You know, he has a constitutional duty to choose majority of them from parliament. He has mentioned that he didn't expect this number of seats from parliament. That makes this nomination and selection more difficult. But I think when you look at the MPs who were selected and elected, there's a wealth of experience there. There's a wealth of human capital there that can assist His Excellency to execute his mandate. So I think he has all the materials he needs as far as human capital is concerned. With his experience on board and, of course, the support of Ghanaians, I know this country will be in a better place 4 years from now.
Let's just hope and see. Lizzie, I have a question for you.
Yes, so I'm tempted to call this the Maxi table. But
Cited by the president.
It's a privilege to be a president.
Yeah. So for you, as one of the people that played a very major role in the current elected president's campaign, what does it mean to you? How do you feel?
So I didn't get involved. I've been political for years, but I didn't get involved this time for any personal reason. I have children, and I looked at where the country was. I looked at where the trajectory of the kind of governance we were being given. I saw the exchange rates. I import stuff to this country. And I told myself as a young person, my children will blame me one day if I sit down without taking any step. So that is really the motivation. It's not to get anything. By the glory of God, I'm okay, you know. But it gets to a time your future must concern you. It gets to a time the future of your children and the future of the entire generation must concern you. That is why together, I myself and a couple of other young people got involved in this election. I get involved in every election, but I think this time around, some of us volunteered our resources and our time to go to the most difficult places, to go to places ordinarily the NDC would not even go. But to the glory of God, they bought into our message. They saw reason in what we presented before them, and they supported us. It's up to us now to make sure the promises we made are fulfilled, basically. Because at the end of the day, it's just about bread and butter. It's just about the well-being of people. People want to be secured. They want to travel on good roads. They want to get farm inputs to farm. At the end of the day, when all that happens, we'll get cheaper food products here, and we'll have food security to some extent. So basically, the things that concern them are not too different from the things that concerns those of us down south. Yeah, it's the same bread and butter issues. But I was really motivated by the trajectory of the country, where the country was headed. And I must add that I believe in John Dramani Mahama. I believe he's the one that can change the trajectory, where we're headed. If there's anything that can be done to change it, with his experience, with his commitment, and to some extent his humility, I think he was the right person for us at this time. And we pray he succeeds.
Okay. So, getting involved in some of the political activities by the party, who do you think should be given some political appointment by the president-elect?
No, I can't answer. That's a prerogative of the president.
He mentioned that it's even difficult for the president to make nominations.
During the week, he mentioned that he never even expected this number of members of parliament. And like I mentioned, our constitution stipulates that majority of your members, your cabinet, basically your ministers of state, exactly, should come from parliament. And that is a challenge. That is why those who are advocating for the amendment of the constitution, for instance, mention that particular clause as one of the clauses they think should be relooked. Of course, it has a historical antecedent. That was done to correct something some time ago. We believe that maybe that thing will never reoccur again. So I can't mention who I think should be given any position. It's the prerogative of the president. Let's pray for him. I trust him. I know with his experience, we'll choose the right people. Yeah. Maybe off camera, I can give you some
Council, I understand that we have less time, but I want to take your thoughts on this particular issues. There have been a lot of judicial and court cases just before the inauguration of the 9th Parliament. What do you make out of all these court cases prior, during, and then even the aftermath of the commencement of the 9th Parliament?
So for the record, I'm involved in some of the cases. I know by our practice, when the case is in court, you're not supposed to comment on it. But what I can talk about is the facts, what led us to court, you understand? But I can't go into the substance to some extent. So basically, there was election in some constituencies. Some aggrieved parliamentary candidates feel like the collations and the tabulations were not done properly. In some places, it's on record, it's on tape. Some people were declared, I wasn't there, but at least it's on tape and they were declared as having won those elections. People petitioned the Electoral Commission, given several instances. For Sistema Central, they were alleging threats, they were alleging duress. Even though on tape, we didn't see that. But at least those who were there, that's what they were claiming. So we took it to court. Basically, I don't want to go into too much legalese here.
I understand.
If you're ready, we can do it. But it will bore you. But essentially, the court ruled that the EC should go back and recollate. I disagree with the court. And so we immediately filed an appeal. The appeal was supposed to have been served. I pray it was served. I have not followed up on it. But basically, that's it. I think it's just the beauty of the Constitution. It's the beauty of the kind of governance we've opted to practice, where if you disagree with something, the law court should be open to you. You should have fair justice, and that's what we call constitutionalism.
I need you to put off your the law shoes, and come political. What do you make of the Electoral Commission's role that it played in the just ended elections? Should Jane go? Should Bosman go as well?
Oh, I don't have the capacity to determine who goes on. But for me, from where I sit, I think it's been abysmal, considering the resources we've given them. As of now, when I go to the Electoral Commission's website, I expect to see constituency by constituency the results, the breakdown. Those are statistics I want to have handy. They could not deliver that. I think 2020 even they were able to do it. Why this time around they've held on to all this information? And I think that general posture before the election was not the best. You see, when you are a referee, you're supposed to be accommodating. Your comments, your utterances should denote somebody who is ready to listen to all. I think they were a bit hostile to some of the political parties. If they stay on, I pray they change. But I think their handling of the election really, for the want of a better word, I think was shambolic. it was just the vigilance of Ghanaians and the preparation of the political parties that led us here. I mean, they shouldn't bask in any of the success of the election. I think they could have done better, but maybe God came through for us. Because in other countries, elections like this get to the tipping point where it goes overboard. You understand it? We have accepted, and Ghanaians are generally tolerant and peace-loving people. So maybe that's what came through for us. But I think the Electoral Commission should do better. If they should stay on, they should understand their mandate in the Constitution. They should understand why they are creature of the Constitution. They are given all the constitutional and legal safeguards so that they have all the freedom and independence to work. You understand it? And even all the resources. Because there's nothing they asked for that you and I didn't pay our taxes to provide to them. And so they do not have any excuse to be telling us that, for instance, a constituency like Ablekuma North, as of now, they can tell us that they don't have some of the pink sheets. They are relying on scanned pink sheets from political parties, for instance, to do their collation. How can I rely on third-party pink sheets when you are the one mandated with all the constitutional powers and all the resources you needed? So for me, those are things I pray should not occur again. To the political parties, I pray we are a bit patient, we are a bit more accommodating, so that we understand each other. At the end of the day, you either win or you lose. It's no war. You understand? Yeah.
I think Lizzie has a final question.
I think I have some questions.
Okay, so hold on, I'm ready. No,
that will be the final bite, I think.
I think I have two. Let me see.
Please go ahead.
In 2008, after we did the election, NDC took the office. And in 2012, John Dramani also won the seat in 2016. I believe that your party laid a good foundation from 2008 to 2012, where GM also continued from there to 2016. That led to you saying that GM has done well. He has done some before, and you believe in him that he will do something better this subsequent years. Are you okay, your party? You have 4 years. Someone has been in office from 2016 to 2024, let me say 2025. They have caused a lot of mess. If I ask you, maybe you say that they have performed abysmal, they have done a lot.
Yeah, they could have done better.
Yes. So do you think your party can use 4 years to repair and like do something better, and also come up something to put Ghana where they want to be? You made mention that you guys want to make Ghana as a better Ghana or something like that. Are you okay with 4 years to do all this?
Sure. So to be honest with you, the problems of this country are not rocket science. We live with it, we know it. Youth unemployment, our infrastructure deficits, roads, hospital, even utilities like water, right? And to some extent, our constitution. That's why there's a huge groundswell of academics, for instance, calling for the constitution to be relooked at, because there are some powers that have been exercised by certain persons who are not doing so properly. You know, I think 4 years at least is enough to lay a very solid foundation to at least reverse some of the path on which we are traveling currently. Because to be honest with you, what we are practicing currently is not sustainable. I'm telling you, as somebody who has read around it, it is not sustainable. When you drive around and see the rate at which unemployment is swelling us up, there's no plan really for it. How did this government handle it? NAPCO and all these unsustainable policies. We also it was like a balloon and it just burst on our faces. We need sustainable jobs for our people. We need real paying good jobs for our young people. But look at the number of people the universities are churning out on the daily. There's no hope for them out there. And I think that is a more dangerous security risk. It's a national security issue to some extent. And so for me, what I expect this government to tackle is youth unemployment. The second thing is our forex. You see, a lot of things we produce here are imported. And so if you don't tackle your exchange rates, you are in trouble. That is why food prices are all over the place. That is why clothing, everything we wear right now, the prices you go today, tomorrow, because of inflation. You understand it? For me, I think 4 years is enough to at least lay a solid foundation. And we need to bring some credibility to our governance. People who lead us, people who live on our taxes must respect us. They must show some modicum of respect and humility. Those are things I want to see, because I don't think the last government had it.
So are you saying that the resetting is a foundation that your government is coming to lay rather than building, or you are coming to lay the foundation and also build?
No, a foundation is part of building. I don't know how many houses you have. At least I have a couple of them. Foundation is actually the most important part of building.
It's the first
without a solid foundation, you can't build anything. You understand it? And so for me, nobody is coming to do magic. I don't think anybody has promised heaven on earth. But what I'm saying is that, one, the most important thing for me is jobs. The second most important thing is jobs. The third is still jobs, especially for our young people. Then the other thing is our structural reforms. You leave Accra, the roads are terrible. You leave Accra, some basic necessities like water, people do not have. I don't think it's beyond us. When I look at what we produce in this country, the resources we have in this country, even the resource baskets. If you look at the amount of money this outgoing government realized even through taxes alone, no government has gotten that kind of money. If you look at the oil revenues they got, no government has gotten that kind of money. So for me, when we run a very lean government, you run a prudent and responsible government, I think we should have a buffer to take care of some of these people. And so what I expect from this government in the first 4 years, at least, is to lay some solid foundation and focus on jobs, whilst keeping another eye on agriculture and all the other problems. But for me, jobs is my main concern. And I don't think it's impossible in 4 years. It can be done.
Council, you have, just before you come in, you have expertise in oil too as well.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson of Delex Finance have said that the NDC should maintain some of the policies of the MPP. An example is the Good for Oil program. What's your take on that?
Well, I disagree with him.
On what basis?
I disagree with him. I mean, even those who brought up policy can't even explain it. I disagree with him. And for me, what I will assure you is that one of the things this government will do is to look into some of those things they did. From where I sit, if I look at the amount of gold they are claiming to have moved out of this country, we should have gotten more, you know. And so my senior Joe Jackson should calm down. Let's go through the books. If it's good, why not? We'll go on with it. I mean, if you can't have any more humility in the president than what John Dramani Mahama presents. So I will not disagree with something I don't know. But for now, my senior should calm down. He should let His Excellency take the oath of office tomorrow, and then we'll take it from there. As for policy, I mean, the good things should be continued. I won't sit here and say they did everything bad. You know, the good things should be continued. At the end of the day, it's for the good people of this country. It's for the tax-paying Ghanaian. It's for the ordinary Ghanaian. It's for the young Ghanaian who doesn't even know where hope is coming from. They are those we should do this, all of this for. So it's not about competition of policy and slogans and all of that. I don't believe in any of those things. It's about jobs. It's about the welfare of the ordinary Ghanaian. It's about reducing prices of items on the market.
Very well.
Those are the things that matter at the end of the day.
I think Lizzie have the final one.
So before you go,
you.
as a legal practitioner, we were having a discussion earlier where we said that we were looking at an extension in office for a government elect. As a legal practitioner, what's your take on that?
Why? I don't understand. Why were you looking at an extension in office?
So some of the arguments were that when the years are extended, it gives the government in power a lot of...
Even an amendment of the Constitution. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it cuts both ways. So currently our Constitution Article 66 states clearly that your mandate is 4 years. Ex-President, for instance, when he left, proposed that he wishes it can be at least 5 years. But you know, the other thing is that we all speak in terms of the ideal case of a good president who doesn't get more time. What about that bad president? Then we get a terrible president, you expect him to stay for 6 years. 4 years for me is enough. It's enough. It's the middle ground. We can strike an average from there. Because if you do 7 years and you get a terrible president, it means you're stuck with that person for 7 years. So we shouldn't think of it all the time as if we have a very good person leading us. The Constitution, in a celebrated case of Tufo vs. Attorney General, Justice Soa told us that the Constitution should be treated as a living organism, capable of growth, capable of expansion. So that Constitution has taken care of all these scenarios. It anticipated the fact that you might get a good president one day and you might get a bad president one day. So that is why 4 years at least stands between. When you get a good president, you give him 10 years, your country develops, that's fine. But what about when you get a bad president? Nobody thinks about that. You understand it? So for me, we should be so that's why I'm not for a wholesale amendment of the constitution. I'm not for that. Because this document has served us well. It's not perfect. Like I mentioned earlier, but when you look around the sub-region and look at the quality of governance, the checks and balances we have in our structure here, some don't have it. You understand it? And so there's a lot we should be proud of as Ghanaians, especially as young people. There's a lot we should be hopeful about. The 24 hours economy is here. Let's all take advantage of it. I hope to be here at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. to pass through and come and have a conversation with you. So thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
So a last one.
I also have a last.
Okay.
Oh,
No, let me take
okay.
it.
From tomorrow going, are you going to see a reduction of goods and services or price?
From tomorrow.
No, the government is starting tomorrow.
Oh, I like that question. But I mentioned earlier that nobody is coming to do magic. The reset to promise will hinge on the strength and the collective strength and aspirations of all Ghanaians. It wasn't just a slogan. It's going to change our mindset. It's going to change the way we do our things. And those who are going to lead us must show that I'm with you. They must show that the old ways of doing things, we can't continue. The arrogance of power, the disrespect, it can't continue. You'll be shocked at the effect of some of these soft changes. You understand it? As for prices of goods and services, calm down. Calm down, because you can't do that in a day. Rome was not built in a day.
I know you have to go.
Yeah.
But please take like 30 seconds or 1 minute to share your comments with us on the 8th Parliament as we look forward for the
8th Parliament.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting. So it's going to be a mixture of. It's going to be a mixture of. You mean the 8th Parliament, not the 9th Parliament?
Yeah.
I think it's a mixed basket. It's a mixed basket. Some of us had a lot of aspirations. We had a lot of hopes in the last Parliament, for instance, because we thought with the structure and the numbers, something like borrowing would have been checked. But we're not too satisfied about that, for instance.
I think the former majority leader made mention that the weakness of the 8th Parliament
was an absolute weakness.
Not curtailing government with
borrowing.
Excessive borrowing for the country.
It was an absolute flaw. And so I pray that this new Parliament will be, unfortunately, but fortunately, the numbers have made it a one-way Parliament of some sort.
Yeah, I wish it's a hang Parliament.
So no, we won't get a hang Parliament again. And so I'm hopeful that this should enable government policies and government programs to run faster. This should reduce the politicking on the floor and make sure the business of government runs faster. And I pray that the commitment and the hope and the confidence Ghanaians have reposed in these members of Parliament, at the end of the day, they don't fail them. Because 1.7 million gap is overwhelming.
Very really.
And so they can't afford to fail. So that is my hope for them. And I wish them well. I have a couple of friends there, so I wish them well.
Like Edinburgh, and I know very well. We are in Parliament. Finally. There has been bills that His Excellency needed to accept to it, especially the family value bills. On the legal front, do you think... Yes.
So, I mean... The life of Parliament terminates tonight. And so, unfortunately, a lot of things they started will terminate with it. Don't forget that it was a private member's bill. I don't know whether those private members would like to resuscitate it and give it life again. But the bills initiated by the last government through this Parliament automatically will die with the Parliament. Because the next government, of course, might not want to revisit those bills. And they were against most of those bills anyway. So as for that bill, it had to stop because it went to court. Thankfully, the Supreme Court has given a judgment on it. So ideally, the process should have continued. I don't know why this president decided to stall it. He decided not to sign it. But let's see what the next Parliament will do with it.
Some judges are yet to be approved by Parliament. Does that mean it goes away with that 8th Parliament?
Yes, to some extent, because if they decide not to approve it, then they are just hanging. They will not be approved. Don't forget that when it comes to approval of judges, it is a sole prerogative of Parliament. Nobody can do it. The President can't give an executive approval to approve the parliament. Just like the members of, cabinet and ministers of state.
Yeah.
And so when parliament decides not to approve them and they leave them, if there are currently judges in the lower courts, then they'll be there. If they are not judges, I think one of them is an academic, he has to just continue his lecturing. On the issue of the Supreme Court and their numbers and attempt to add more, maybe that'll be a discussion for another day.
Let's just hope so.
Yeah,
but we're grateful for the
day.
time that you've been able to
Yeah,
help
so
us.
my last question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we know that you have majority in parliament.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should be looking at extending JM's term of office? We know he has 4 years. Do you think there's going to be another opportunity for him to do another 4 years? Should that discussion come up in parliament?
I didn't know that pleaded the fifth, but that's a difficult one. You took me off my surprise. That's a difficult one. But I think the constitution, in my estimation, is clear. There are a lot of schools, there are other schools of thought that things that if you don't live out your tenure concurrently, then you don't expend that for full tenure. But I disagree. I from where I sit, if you do 2 terms, you've done 2 terms. I don't think His Excellency even is interested in that. I don't think so. I don't know his plans, but I don't think anything. I don't think the people of Ghana will even support something like that. I won't support it. As a matter of principle, I won't support it. Because I think there are many, many other people who can be presidents of this country. His Excellency appreciates that. He's a humble person. He appreciates that. He knows that he's actually privileged. He's blessed to be the president-elect at this time in our history. He has a mandate for 4 years. Let's not start thinking wild. Let's pray and support him for 4 years. After 4 years, this country will still be there. Some of us, you never know, might spring up to be the president of this country. My brother, they can be the president of this country. You never know. So let's leave the rest to posterity. Let's leave the rest to history and in the future. And I think we'll be fine. So those are history. Those are topics that.
My final question.
Okay.
From your perspective as a law expert, are you going to see your party or your government arresting the so-called corrupt people that you spoke about during your campaigns?
Well, I didn't speak about any corrupt person because the laws of this country are clear.
Now you even have over.
That's fine. The laws of this country are clear. There are institutions, there are persons who are mandated to go after criminals or alleged criminals or suspected criminals. I belong to the school of thought that holds that if there are witches, you should hunt them. Let me tell you, the amount of mess that has been created from tomorrow, maybe your mood will change in this studio when light is thrown on the extent of work this government has to do. It is actually not a joke. I've been part of some of the subcommittees sitting at the transition team, so I understand a little bit more. And so for now, you calm down. I believe that if there are witches, they should be hunted. That I won't play with it because I've gone through this country. I've seen how people live. I've seen how small amounts can change the lives of people. I appreciate it. There are areas that travel several kilometers to visit CHIPS compound, underfunded, under-resourced CHIPS compounds. That can change with 10,000 or 15,000. People are using millions for things that are not necessary. You understand it? And so for me, any money that has gone to anybody wrongly, I believe the state should go after it. But it should not be an avenue for witch hunting or going after political opponents. That I don't support. But at the end of the day, if there are witches, they should be hunted. Yeah, whether oral or not. If there are witches, they should be hunted.
Council, finally, before we go, Parliament, we just received that Parliament is being served with an execution of application to halt the swearing in of 3 members of Parliament that are being elected. That is Techiman South, the Kankwe Central, and Tema Central. What's your final comment on this? And we'll not take any further questions after this one.
So Parliament is a creature of the Constitution.
Very well.
It should be a law-abiding institution.
Very well.
Parliament should not be seen to be a rogue institution that disrespects the courts. The leadership of Parliament, especially under the current Right Honourable Speaker, I believe know what to do. I am not competent enough to advise the Clerk of Parliament and even Alban Gbagwin on legal matters. That's why I believe they know what to do. The laws of this country are clear. When you are served with a process from court, whatever you are doing, you have to halt it. So let's see how it plays out. Let's see how Parliament handles it.
It's a great time to have you, Council. We've been speaking and sharing ideas with the lawyer Francis Boy. He's a legal counsel. He specialized a little more in marriage-related issues. But this time around, he's doing the politics a lot. Well, he has shared a lot of things that His Excellency, the President-elect, will be doing. And, you know, we need to keep our horses calm and look forward to what the President-elect would have for us. He says that we should pray for the President because he's going to run a lean government and we will feel the environment impact, as and when right after he has been sworn in. Council, we're so grateful for your time.
Thank you very much. It's been a privilege to be here. You'll be seeing me a little bit more this year.
Oh, that's
and a happy new year to all of you.
Thank you so very much. Is there any goodies attached to it?
We'll get to the video cross.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
But Maxwell, I think when you go on the floor of Parliament, there has been some more members that are in now. Council earlier gave us the reason not to think about the extension of the 4 years. Yeah. He has also cited why we need to keep our horses waiting, because you asked him the question of whether prices of goods and services will reduce, and he says that we will feel the atmosphere, but as and when, you know, the issue has been about bread and butter, and so therefore we have to, you know, put things together. What do you make of the things that he has said here?
You know, my interest is me, and I do believe that, or I side with most Ghanaians, we are all expecting that inflation and things will come down for us to buy what we can buy. So that's why I asked him that question. Okay. That are we going to see that the yogurts at Fair we are buying at 90 pesos now 4 cedis? Are we going to see some reduction in the prices or something? That's our ultimate priority for us, because transport issue is there, health issue is also there, and food issues is also there. So we are doing a lot, but let us see some reduction. Now I don't know if it starts also increasing, what is it going to affect the government? So from tomorrow going, I am thinking that things should be calmed down. But he said that they are not magicians. They are not going to
of course, it's human beings manning the affairs.
Doing this within 4 years is something that they shouldn't joke with, because you are saying that the government has created a lot of messes, a very huge baller there, and now you are going to clear that. It really take you can fight a corruption case for almost 10 years, you are not done with. So assuming that getting a huge or maybe 10 people are in court fighting because of corruption and others, they are going to face a lot. So I wanted him to give us a hope that when we come, things will maybe reduce, and at the same time, maybe things will be better for Ghanaians. That's our ultimate priority.
So. Thank you so very much, Maxwell. Time check is 22:15 GMT. And members of Parliament are getting prepared to get into the mood. If you go into the chamber now, most of them might be seated. Our colleague on the ground, Stephen Bito, is a man for us in Parliament, and he will be giving us those painting the picture for us on what is happening in Parliament. But before we cross over to Parliament, we would like to take a quick turn. When we come back, we'll give you the happenings in Parliament and any other conversations. This is Adwa Television. Thank you so very much for your time. Keep watching. We'll return shortly.